Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is going to be my discussion on the avoid this player as teammate button. It's a button that Overwatch are going to be adding to their game in the next patch, I believe. And although I'm not an Overwatch player, I think this is definitely something that could be interesting in the context of Rocket League. While we talk about this, I'll explain what that is and what the drawbacks, what the benefits are in a couple of minutes. But yeah, in the background, that's my gameplay. In case you were wondering, I've been using that fancy new decal from the spring crate. No, it's not the spring crate. It's from Flowers, I believe. But yeah, I've been having a good time with that one. Anyway, let's talk about the avoid this player option. Firstly, what is it? Well, in Overwatch, any way that you can find somebody's profile, if you get onto anybody's profile, you just played with them, and you click on their profile, or you just go to find their profile on the leaderboard or whatever. Any way that you can get to their profile, there's going to be this new option in the list of options that you can interact with on someone else's profile, and one of them will be avoid this player as teammate. And if you do that, the matchmaking system will do exactly that. It will avoid putting that player on your team in future matches. Of course, you can still see them on the other team. They can still be in your game playing against you, but you can't be grouped with them. You'll never be on the same team, and I think that is definitely interesting to talk about. So I did a little bit of digging first of all, and I found out that there has been an avoid this player option in Overwatch in the past. I think at least that there used to be an avoid this player option, and it was removed from the game because the world's #1 player for a very, very annoying hero or champion, I'm not sure what you call it in Overwatch, to play against. The world's #1 player for that particular hero or character had incredibly long queue times. Everybody had checked avoid this player. They were all avoiding him because he was too good at this hero. Nobody wanted to be against him, and to kind of to dodge having to beat him at his best champion, his best character, they would just avoid him entirely, and that's not exactly fair. It definitely isn't. Definitely isn't ideal if you're trying to figure out who the best player is in a ranked system, and you can actually choose who your opponents are not going to be. Obviously, that doesn't make sense. So they removed that feature, but avoid this player as teammate is definitely a bit different, and I think it doesn't have the same drawback that avoid this player full stop had, because obviously you can still be in the same lobby as somebody, you just won't be on the same teammate, or you won't be on the same team. Sorry. But yeah, I did a little bit of reading through the Overwatch update, and like I expected, they've been very clear that the avoid this player as teammate button is not the same as a report feature. So obviously Rocket League has report features in it. You can report someone for unsportsmanlike conduct. You can report them for verbal abuse, and I think there's something else in there. I don't know. I don't use the report button very often because I don't usually play with in-game chat on. But they've been very clear that avoid this player is not a report button. When you avoid someone, you're not actually flagging their account for being banned or anything. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you just run into a teammate in any team game online that you don't work well with. You might have playstyles that clash with each other. In Overwatch, obviously, there's lots of different characters in game. Somebody might just be playing this weird character that you don't understand. That doesn't really happen in Rocket League. Obviously, there's different cars, but they're all doing the same thing pretty much. So I don't think that would be that would have any crossover. I mean, unless you really, really hate one car. I might just avoid Dominus players personally, but but that's just me. But I really think that in Rocket League, this would be mostly a playstyle thing. And maybe if somebody's having an off day and you can tell that they're tilted and they just refuse to stop queuing, and the game keeps putting you in their team for some reason, and then you just have to tank your rating with them because this guy's tilted and he won't stop playing. You could avoid that kind of player as well, and dodge their tilt from infecting you. So the important thing, and this is the top comment that I've seen in most threads related to this, including the Rocket League Reddit thread that popped up about this feature that Overwatch are going to drop in their game, and it says that Overwatch are only allowing you to avoid a maximum of 2 players at any one time, and that is important, obviously, because without that, there could just be ridiculous amounts of avoidances lists, and when you add everybody, or you look at all of the Grand Champion players in the world, and this guy's avoiding 100 teammates, this other guy's avoiding 150 teammates, and they're both queued up at the same time, and the matchmaking system's really just struggling to make a game that both of these guys want. And that's why they've capped it at 2. I don't know if 2 would work for Rocket League. Obviously this would have to be tested. Psyonix would have to just launch a little test of a feature like this and say, okay, you guys in Rocket League, we saw Overwatch do this, and it worked pretty well for them. It's had a lot of positive feedback, so we're going to add an avoid button to Rocket League, and you can only avoid a maximum of 2 players, or maybe 1, or maybe 3. I don't know how many would work, because of course as you increase the number of players that everybody's allowed to avoid, the matchmaking quality would go down, and if there was no limit, the matchmaking quality could just be awful, especially at high level and on low population servers that are queuing late night. So definitely, if this was going to be a thing in Rocket League, you would need to limit the amount of players that you can avoid. The other thing that Overwatch do is they make it that after a week of avoiding someone, that person will automatically be taken out of your list. That's not to say that you can't manually remove them from your list earlier than that. You might just want to avoid somebody for one particular night because you see that they're tilted, and then you could remove them afterwards, because obviously tilt usually goes away after sleeping. But you can, if you don't manually remove them, the game will do it for you. It'll take them off your list. That's, I think, very useful, just to prevent people from getting stuck on a lot of other players' avoidance lists for ages, for no particular reason. Maybe they were just having a bad day, and a lot of people avoided them, and it would be kind of unfair to leave them on those lists forever unchecked. The other thing that they do, which is again I think a good thing, is that players are receiving a lot of avoidances from other players in the game. So if lots of other people are avoiding you as a teammate, you get a notification when you open up your game, and that could be for lots of different reasons. If it was someone like John Sandman, for example, and he logs in and it says, it gives him a notification, a lot of people are avoiding you, and then he'd probably think, you guys, how could you do this to me? All my viewers have gone and avoided me for the lulz. But like I said, it's not a report feature. There's nothing going to happen to that account. You just get informed that you're being avoided by a lot of people for your own benefit. And if you aren't someone who has a large social media presence, or a big YouTube channel, or a large Twitch stream, if you're just gaming by yourself all the time and you get avoided a lot, you've got to think to yourself, right, what am I doing that's making people avoid me? Why are all these different accounts, all these different people avoiding me as a teammate, when they're definitely not trolling? Well, sure, maybe they are, but you would think that, okay, I'm not just getting trolled by my fans or whatever, and maybe then you could go watch your replays and figure out, I'm actually cutting off my teammate a lot. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I keep on doing this thing that really is very annoying to play with. Oh, maybe it's because I keep on doing this weird kickoff, and it's not consistent with what everybody else is doing. Or maybe it's because when my teammate's dribbling, I come and try and shoot the ball off the top of his head. If that's something that you consistently do, I could see a lot of people avoiding you as a teammate, because people don't enjoy being tackled from behind by their teammate when they're trying to dribble. So this could actually help people improve their own gameplay. I really do think it could. That little notification feature, just to tell people, hey, you're not going to get banned or anything. Don't worry, you've not been toxic, you've not verbally abused anybody, you've not purposely made any games worse, but you are being avoided as a teammate by a lot of accounts. So maybe try and figure out why that is. Obviously, you could still ban, or you could still report someone that you are avoiding as a teammate. Maybe you just run into someone in ranked and they are going above and beyond all the things that I've just explained. They're maybe verbally abusive, they might be deliberately own goaling, or just driving around bumping you. And if that person, if they're clearly doing any of those things, of course you're going to report them for unsportsmanlike conduct or verbal abuse. And you could also avoid them as kind of a fast track. It's like, okay, I'm going to report that guy, But while I'm waiting for the report system to do its thing, because obviously the report system takes some time, I'm also going to avoid them. And that means I don't have to deal with that person in the short term. I don't have to worry about getting matched up with them in the next game, and this happening right from the first second. Because sometimes that happens. Somebody will just get really triggered at the end of a game and start going crazy because you didn't forfeit and they wanted to forfeit, and then at the start of the next game, just to spite you, they do all these things. And the avoid as teammate feature would be really, really good for preventing that from happening. I would especially love it, just so that I can avoid those people who troll me just because of my name. They recognize my name and they're like, hey, I want this guy's attention, and they talk to me, and then I've got my chat disabled and I don't reply, and then they start trolling me because I didn't reply, you know? Or they start just driving around and trying to get my attention in other ways since I've not replied to them in game chat, which is, by the way, because I never play with game chat and I'm just chilling out with my music and not reading all of the 12-year-old comments in Rocket League text chat. That's another story though. Last thing I want to say on this topic is that, the reason why I think that this might be more applicable to Rocket League than even it is to Overwatch, is because there are enough people playing Rocket League that I don't think matchmaking would take a huge hit if everybody was allowed to avoid up to 2 people. Even if everybody's avoiding 2 people, the queues are probably still going to be okay, I think. I mean, obviously I can't say that for certainty, but there are enough people playing Rocket League that it's feasible to see this being a good idea. And the reason that it would, I think, be better for Rocket League is what I said earlier. In Overwatch and in other games that might have this feature, sometimes there's different roles to play in a team. Sometimes you got the healer, the tank, the damage dealer, and there's certain champions, characters, heroes that are just generally despised by the community, and that players who main those characters are going to get a lot of avoidances on them, on their accounts. But since Rocket League is all just cars, nobody's like I said earlier, you might avoid all Dominus players or, I don't know, Backfire players just because you've got a thing against them, but it's not going to be a huge popular opinion. It's not like every Scarab player is getting mass avoided. Surely not. I can't see that being a problem, right? I mean, maybe you guys disagree, but that's the reason I think that that Rocket League would be a little bit better and more suited for a feature like this, because it's purely gameplay that's gonna cause, or actually being trolled, or just not meshing with someone else's playstyle. They're the only two real reasons I can see for people being avoided. But anyway, I'll post the Reddit threads, the relevant Reddit threads I've been looking at to get all the information for this video. I'll post them in the link or in the description down below. So if you want to do a little bit more reading, then you can click on either of those links. I did cover the majority of the topics from those videos though, so there's not really anything else that unless I haven't noticed it. If you're an Overwatch player and you've got something to enlighten me with, 'cause like I said earlier, I don't play Overwatch. Maybe you know more about this than I do. Be sure to let me know in the comments. And anything else, any of you guys want to add to this discussion, I'll be reading the comments of this video later. So be sure to dive in, and we'll see whether or not this is viable. For now though, guys, thanks as always for watching. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.